Welcome back. Let's continue with more news. In 2023, school screenings indicated that 3.3% of staff members, comprising of teachers, coaches and administrative personnel, had criminal convictions or were awaiting trial for serious offences such as murder, rape, theft and assault. Let's get a reaction. For more on this, we're going to be joined via Teams by Basil Manuel of the National Professional Teachers Organisation of South Africa. Basil, good afternoon and thank you for joining us on the SABC at this hour.
Good afternoon, Liesl. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Let's get your reaction first and foremost to the report by the Credit Bureau that 3.3% of teachers in South Africa have criminal convictions.
Liesl, it is indeed a sad indictment and in fact a worrying statistic. I don't know what the sample size was, but it really worries us. And this is why we vigorously supported SABC, the South African Council of Educators, when they wanted to start vetting teachers. And we've supported that, and we are part of that process because we want to ensure that the profession and that schools are safe areas and not populated by anybody that would in fact bring the entire system into disrepute.
Basil, talk to some of the measures that have been put in place. I mean, we know that South African Council for Educators, SABC, mandates that teachers undergo registration before employment. But how is it that some of these teachers are now only being picked up? I mean, how are they slipping through the cracks?
Liesl, in fact, they haven't slipped through the cracks. We must remember that the vetting decision was only taken 2 years ago. And so now all new teachers coming into the system, and we've got to still extend that to other workers, have to be vetted. They've got to have police clearance, etc. And that is new teachers and of course returning teachers. But then there are the large group of teachers that are already in schools. And that process has only just started, where we've started with the most vulnerable sector, our special schools. And where all teachers are being vetted, and it is slowly creeping higher and higher up so that we eventually would cover, within the next few months to a year, we would cover the majority of schools having done that. And that is the process. And this in turn will expose exactly where the problems lie.
Well, thank you for clarifying the process and the timelines as well, because I just wanted to look at the practicality of it. How long does it take for a criminal record to be cleared in South Africa? And from your vantage point, how often then should it be done going forward?
Liesl, and you've just touched on such an important issue because some of these crimes have been committed a very long time ago. We know that if it's non-serious crimes, petty theft and so on, after 10 years you can apply for that conviction to be expunged. And of course, however, the statistic is telling us it's serious crimes, and that is a different matter. And when it comes to things like rape convictions and the like, those, in terms of our existing procedures, we do not re-employ the teachers who have been found guilty of sexual offences. So we hope that with the vetting that is taking place, we're going to sift through all this, but also not to be unfair to people who did silly things when they were teenagers and just new teachers. However, we want to see that the silly little ones get cleared up, but that the serious matters be looked at again. Murder, rape, and grievous assault are serious matters.
And on that note, what powers do schools then have? Can they do their own vetting process? What are some of the services available for schools and educational institutions in South Africa? I was reading about Huru, instances where they can support SABC. Talk us through a little bit more of that.
Liesl, let me first deal with the two types of employees we have. We have employees of governing bodies. Governing bodies have an obligation to do that vetting, to check and demand that teachers that are being appointed or that are applying for posts and those that are existing, they can do that already. Then insofar as the state-paid teachers are concerned, we know that now this whole process is in place. But governing bodies can't remove teachers that have been appointed by the Department of Education. There is a process. And we are seeing that that process is speeding up now because many provinces have already decided that when we advertise promotion posts, those people must immediately be vetted so that you are not still appointing somebody that may have a problem. So you see there is energy that is put in here. And we certainly want to clean up the system, not for the sake only of ourselves as teachers and our reputation. But remember, schools must be safe places for everybody. A parent doesn't send a child to school when they fear that there would be a risk involved.
No, absolutely. Just as we wrap up and speaking about cleaning up the system at large, I just wanted to look at liability from here into as of 2018, disciplinary actions and measures. What comes to the fore on that front for those who've just tuned in also to understand better?
Liesl, I'm not understanding your question perfectly. Liability in terms of?
So if a teacher does have a criminal record and or has slipped through the cracks, who will be liable for, that vetting process if it hasn't been checked, or if they are teaching, but obviously an issue has come to the fore? Just talk us through that process, just to manage the situation going forward as of 2018.
Liesl, now I've explained the historical part, but just in terms of new people coming in, we hope that nobody slips through the cracks, because the police would have then verified that the person doesn't have a criminal record. But that will be tested in a court if somebody does slip through. But now don't forget that people can commit a crime even after they have been vetted, and one will have to test whether the vetting was badly done or whether a criminal act was performed thereafter. And even if people haven't been convicted, sometimes those people are in the system, and only once they commit a crime do you realize the type of character they are. So it's a process that we will work through, and we certainly hope that we can look back and say we've cleaned up the system as best we can. But it's cold comfort for somebody when a crime happens against a family member to say, oh, they did try their best. That is not what we're saying. We're saying we want to do as best we can.
Basil, thank you for clarifying that, and thank you for joining us on the SABC at this hour. We'll leave that conversation there for now. Basil, Manuel, of course, National Professional Teachers Organisation of South Africa, weighing in. We're looking at SACE requirements. We're looking at how in 2023, school screenings indicated that 3.3% of staff members comprising of teachers and coaches, including administrative personnel, had criminal convictions or they were awaiting trial. Basil really just weighing in on the measures that have been taken, cleaning up the sector, and some of the implications as well going forward. Again, thank you to him for joining us at this hour.